This week on CNB Bazaar Buzz, we tell you how and why renting and self-driving a car is fast becoming a viable alternative for many car owners in India. Also, driving in the fog can be quite a challenge, and so we offer some valuable driving tips. And finally, a taxi service operated by women only to provide a safe mode of transport. All this and more coming up on CNB Bazaar Buzz. Hello and welcome to CNB Bazaar Buzz. Here's wishing you a Merry Christmas, and we have quite an action-packed show ahead of us. This is of course holiday season and all of you guys must have packed your bags heading out for those long drives. But these days there is an interesting option increasingly becoming popular in the market. This is self-drive being given by fleet operators across the country. All you got to do is pay for those few hours or days that you want to drive out, whether it's close by or to the hills or somewhere, a holiday destination that you've planned. Now you can get behind the wheel and pay for the hours that you're driving to. Let's just see how this car sharing network really works and how effective this is as compared to owning your own car.
Now, driving a high-end luxury car for a day or a small hatch for a few hours is fast becoming a viable transportation option in India as the self-driven rental market is growing in India. The Indian taxi market is pegged at $9 billion and less than 10% of it is run by organized players. With the car rental business growing at over 12%, there is still no official numbers on the exact size of the self-driven car rental market, but suffice to say the market is booming with new players entering the space. Here's how car sharing or self-driving really works. You can now rent a car by hour, day, week or month depending on your requirement. Sometimes longer the booking, the sweeter the deal will be. Some car sharing networks make you pay only for the hours that you use the car, which makes sense, especially if it is just a short duration requirement. Also, you get to choose from a range of cars, but do try and book early as the popular cars do get taken early. Also, do check what is covered under your agreement like insurance, deposit and navigation. Some of these fleet operators do have designated points across the city where you can pick up or drop the vehicle. Also check for valid permits in case you want to go outstation. Experts say high interest rate on car loans, increased cost of ownership and a desire to drive bigger cars is driving the demand for car sharing services. Also, this option appeals to the younger workforce who don't have to worry much about maintaining the cars. One of the early players to identify the self-drive market and make it affordable is the Miles service offered by the Cars on Rent group. Besides a large fleet of car models to choose from, their rental tie-up with Tata Motors to offer the Nano Twist at 99 rupees an hour is seeing strong demand. Miles offers 200 Tata Nano cars for intra-city travel across 43 locations in Delhi NCR region. Here is how you can book a car under the Miles scheme. Visit the website or download the app and check Miles' range of services. Select the type of service you will need, hourly or daily. You can directly walk to a dedicated location center and drive off with the car. Take all mandatory documents with you, including a valid driver's license, an address proof, and a credit card for pre-authorization. After use, the car can be delivered back to the same location from where it was picked up. Charges include 10 kilometers of fuel charges. Apart from the Tata Nano, Miles offers models like the Mercedes E-Class, Maruti Suzuki Swift, Swift Desire, i10, Vento, Renault Duster in 20 cities across India.
When we started out, about a year ago, we put in 14 cars on our site and we just put it on our site. We just did nothing to it. And we said, let's see what happens. And within the next 5 days, the entire fleet was sold out for the next 1 month. That's when we said, excellent, now let's put some more cars. And that's how we really grew the brand Miles. The brand Miles really was launched with the objective to say that how can I now start reaching out to this consumer who's well-traveled. The Indian consumer we also saw was progressively using self-drive as an option when they were going outside the country. Yep. And why not have this option within their country as well? Also, we saw some humongous change and receptiveness of consumers, even to use self-drive cars when they were traveling within cities, not just for holidays.
Also, most of your marketing in that sense has been focused on people who are looking at second-hand cars to buy, or even a brand new car to buy. You say, instead of buying it, why don't you look at the option of renting it out? How has that campaign worked out for you? Because a lot of people might not have looked at it in the past, and suddenly they're like, okay, before I buy that car, maybe I want to drive it for a month. Are those your target customers?
So when Miles was launched, one of the things that was very important for us was how can we create network in such a manner that you have a car wherever you're going, within your city you have a car at various locations. Also, you have enough number of options whenever you want to choose a car.
Sure.
So we said, in the last 1 year we moved to 20 different cities. Within these 20 cities, we've opened over 100 locations from where you can pick up the car. We've got 33 different models of vehicles that are available that you can rent. So really, we say you can have a car for every day of the month.
Now, self-driven rental cars do see huge interest even in the expensive luxury car segment. Large fleet operators like EcoRent-A-Car are looking to the service customers looking to self-drive only high-end cars. With specialized services in the chauffeur-driven segment, the company also sees huge potential in the self-driven luxury car segment. From brands like Mercedes-Benz, BMW and Audi, these self-driven cars are usually used for a quick weekend getaway, or NRI customers even use these luxury car services for a month at 25,000 rupees per day. Before signing up to take self-driven luxury cars, there is quite a bit of inspection that is done at the garage. This is to ensure that the customer is satisfied with the condition of the car that he is paying for. The refundable deposit with the EcoRent-A-Car is high, as the costs involved in luxury cars are quite high. But Aditya Lomba, director at EcoRent-A-Car, says there is huge demand among Delhiites for SUVs, as self-driven customers do prefer to travel in large groups.
What is the process at EcoRent-A-Car in terms of a self-driven car? How does a customer, does he go to the website? Does he come to your garage? What is the process? And for example, can you give us a cost of, for example, if somebody wants to hire a Fortuner for 5 days, for example, if you can just give us an example so viewers will understand it better.
Right. So, typically a Fortuner would cost approximately 5,000 rupees a day, give or take. It depends if you are, taking it for a longer period of time, you may get a special deal on that as well. Or if you are going, let's say, to a complex itinerary, so it may have a surcharge on it. But typically it's about 5,000 rupees a day for a Fortuner.
So the customer comes to your center, he signs it up. What are the formalities involved?
Yeah, exactly. So normally customers, they can come to us through our website, which is www.ecorentacar.com. We also have an online payment facility on our website. They can see the entire fleet, the interiors, the exteriors of the cars over there. If they need any assistance, we've got a 24/7 assistance desk for our self-drive product as well. Sure. So if they need, let's say, a baby seat in the car, or they need an additional rooftop carrier on their car, or if they need a drop-off facility, they can't come to our garage. Normally we prefer that they come to our garage and collect the car and they complete the entire documentation and formalities. But for some reason they have a request for dropping off the car at some location, we even accept those requests as well. So in terms of documentation, we have a self-drive contract, which normally which lists down all the terms and conditions, which the user has to abide by.
And the deposit also, depending on the model that you're
and there is a refundable deposit which they have to pay. Either they can pay, either they can pay via their credit card.
How much is it approximately for the Fortuner?
For example, for a Fortuner, it would be ranging in the region of about 100,000 rupees, okay. Which is a refundable deposit, which you get back when you return the car to us.
Okay. Also, now that you have startup companies who are offering this at a very low level. And then you have companies like Uber, which is kind of disrupting the market when kind of connecting the driver with the consumer. How are you evolving, given that you have such a rich heritage in operating fleet cars in India? How are you evolving yourself? What are the kind of new steps you're taking in the mobile space, for example, to connect with the customer better?
Great question, Bala. we actually realized that smartphones are going to be one of the main most popular mediums to book cars now, because we saw the growth of Uber in the last 3-4 years, in the international markets, and that is when we realized that this is something which we should also look into. So in our company in Eco, we have actually developed some really good mobile platform which are now supported by our backend software. So at the moment there is testing going on, and the product that we will be offering on the mobile technology front will be something which has got all the features of these new concept companies, yet we will be Indianizing it to the local tastes and preferences and the way the business is done in India. For example, in India it's a cash on delivery market, so we will be having the cash option as well in our mobile product. Or for example, on an Uber or somebody, you can rent a car on a on-demand basis only, but we will be offering a pre-booked service as well. So in the features wise, we will be having some additional features, and in terms of our mobile technology, it's just going to be great. So just look forward to it.
So do explore the option of self-drive, at least if you want to drive that dream car without the hassles of owning one. Now, most parts of North India are kind of suffering from this cold wave, and most parts of the day is usually foggy like this. So it's important to keep a few things in mind while driving in the fog, because it can get a little nightmarish because most of the drivers are suffering from poor visibility. Now, one of the common mistakes a lot of drivers do these days while driving in foggy condition is to switch on the hazard or the parking lights while driving. That's a mistake because most of the drivers coming behind you might think that your vehicle is stationary. So always park the car to the left and only then switch on the parking and hazard lights. Let's just take a look at a few more tips of driving in the fog and few things that you can keep in mind while driving in this condition. Now, one of the first things to keep in mind while driving in the fog is to drive slower than usual, as the visibility on the roads is lower. Also, maintain a safe distance with the cars in front and behind you so that you are protected in case of sudden braking. Also, do ensure that you have your fog light switched on. In case you don't have one on your car, do use the headlamps in low beam. Do not use high beam, as it only makes it harder to see. Do use your indicators while changing lanes and use the painted road markings as a guide. Now, inside the car, the front and rear windshield can fog up, and so do use the front and rear defogger or the wiper, whichever is available. Do try and ensure your windscreen and windows are clean to reduce glare and increase visibility. Reduce distractions and keep the radio at a low volume. And of course, avoid taking phone calls while driving. If you have to pull over, look for a safe parking spot far from the traffic lanes and switch on your hazard lights. Avoid driving at night in the fog to ensure safe driving. Coming up on CNB Bazaar Buzz, we take a look at a service which is run purely by women taxi drivers, and also what Maruti has in store for us for 2015. All this and more coming up on CNB Bazaar Buzz. Stay tuned.